We are heading into the home stretch of the 2010 PAC KOTESOL International Conference, and we've been joined by a couple of presenters, Rusty and Bob. Thanks, guys, for joining us.
Sure thing.
Now, you just finished giving a presentation. What was the presentation?
We just finished presenting about the nonprofit organization Toastmasters and how getting involved in Toastmasters can help teachers improve their teaching styles, improve their work they do in the administrations, and also how Toastmasters can help university students.
All right, give us the short version of that. First, what is Toastmasters, and why would a language learner or a language educator want to be involved?
Toastmasters is an internationally recognized communication and leadership organization, and it teaches us how to be better, obviously, communicators and leaders. But it's really useful especially for teachers, for classroom dynamic. It teaches us how to be better presenters, because we're basically professional public speakers as teachers, and it teaches us how to be better at public speaking. It's a primary goal of our club. So all around, it just makes us better teachers.
Tell us a little bit about a Toastmasters meeting. If someone goes to a Toastmasters meeting, what happens?
Usually they meet once a week. Some clubs meet twice a month or even once a month, but usually they're 2-hour meetings. And what you have is an introduction by the president or chairperson. You'll have a Toastmaster who is the MC of the meeting. They've organized it, they've coordinated, they've confirmed all the roles, and they carry out a theme as they transition and introduce each speaker throughout the meeting. You might have book reviews, you might have movie reviews or restaurant reviews, maybe someone tells a joke. But the main parts of it are having impromptu speeches where anyone can get up, member or guest, and speak for 1 to 2 minutes about a topic they don't know yet. To learn thinking on your feet and looking professional while you do it, like I'm doing right now, hopefully.
I was just noticing, wow, these guys give really good, clear answers.
And about half of the meeting, though, is dedicated to prepared speeches. People work through manuals where they complete certain objectives for certain speeches. They build on each other speech after speech, but the topic is up to the person. So they can bring their own topic, their own experience and research. They give a speech, and later somebody not only gives them a written evaluation on what was good and what they could do better, but they get a spoken evaluation in front of everybody else to learn from. Other little things in the meeting also involve someone's timing the different parts of the meetings, someone's counting ums and ahs, which I'm sure I've said a few already, and other people are listening to word choice grammar. Are there mistakes, or what kind of beautiful language were used during the meeting? Then we go, actually, this is important to say, we do go usually afterwards to a restaurant or bar to have more of a relaxed social event.
Okay, I'm going to be speaking very carefully, trying to avoid my ums. How multicultural are the groups that you belong to?
Absolutely multicultural. I mean, it's a primary goal of Toastmasters. We're being in a host country like Korea. We have several Korean members, but we also have a member who's starting a Hindi club in our club. We have people, we've had Spanish members, we've had, where else, Bob?
Russian, the Ukraine, India, people from all over the world, not just sorry, I'm looking back at it. I'm not used to a microphone. People from all around the world that are in Korea. Some are English teachers, some are engineers, some are lawyers, some are Korean, some are Chinese. And we've had people who visited Korea. For example, a guy came from Dubai. He came to our club. He loved it. He was here for a month for work, and he came every single meeting to our club. He actually went back to Dubai, came back, and even brought some of us gifts. And it was all because he was a Toastmaster, he was automatically welcome. Actually, everybody's welcome, members and guests, but especially when someone from another country says, I'm in the international organization, we usually go out of our way to make them feel at home. Lots of clubs in Korea are very diverse. Some are heavily Korean, maybe 80% Korean, 20% foreign, but it is English language. It's all English language unless the club specifically says we are bilingual or we do have Korean only. But there's only one official club right now that's Korean language. The other 20 in Korea are English.
When you're not participating in Toastmasters or making presentations about it, what's your day job? What do you guys do?
We both teach at Sungkyunkwan University.
Okay. How long have you been in Korea?
I've been here 4 years.
I've been here a year and a half, a little over a year and a half.
Okay. How long have you been involved in KOTESOL?
Oh, you go ahead with that one.
This is my second year.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And are you a relative newbie?
This is number one.
Okay.
It's the first time, so.
How has your conference experience been?
Thank you, Bob. Yeah. I would like to introduce my mic stand, Bob Kienzle. It's been great. I've got to see a lot of really well-renowned Paul Nation, who's a well-renowned educator. I've got to see a lot of information that's really useful that I can bring into an everyday classroom, and that's really important to me, to be able to take something from conference to classroom. And I've been able to do that with a lot of the stuff, not only with the stuff that I've seen in the conferences, but with some of my peers here. That they've given me some ideas. I've been able to have conversations with them, and it's really been helpful for what I can take to my classroom and what I can actually take away from the conference itself. So I would say that my conference experience has been more than helpful. It's been absolutely unique and interesting, and I'm really glad. I'll be back next year, and hopefully I'll be presenting again next year.
Great. How was your experience?
My experience was good. One thing that he's given the positive, I might give a few points for improvement, something we do in Toastmasters. We always say, what was good, what could we do better next time? I think it is important for a lot of presenters, especially the world famous ones, the people who are invited here, who get to present for free instead of paying to present like we do. One thing, I think it's important to understand how English is changing in the global world. People talk about that a lot. What I think people could add, though, are suggestions for our classrooms. Lots of times we hear presenters say, here's a method, here's an idea you can use in your classroom, here's an activity, but sometimes the presenters are missing that. They talk about how it's changing around the world, and they leave us with that to think about, which is okay sometimes, but a lot of people do that. And I would like to see more suggestions for immediate improvement of our own classes. But that's a very, I think, critical thing to say, but something to think about.
I would imagine you can't ever take your Toastmaster glasses off. Like, you find yourself in presentations thinking, oh, that was his 16th oh, he needs to structure his presentation more effectively.
Well, that's what the second round is for after the meeting, going to the bar, get a little bit of beer in you, and that does go, the formality of it completely goes away.
Okay. Now, Bob, you also made another presentation, yes?
I did.
What was that on?
I co-presented with another Sungkyunkwan University teacher named Jody Barron, and we talked about recognizing cultural concepts in the classroom. It was actually kind of a two-part presentation. One was looking at cultural concepts in your regular English courses and how that can help you to identify with your students and using culture in activities and assignments for the students, but it can also hurt you when you think you understand a culture and you use that to stereotype students from another culture, and how that could inhibit your teaching or limit the student abilities in their assignments.
And you had mentioned that it was important for presenters to give people kind of some concrete suggestions on how they can apply this in their classroom. Do you have any for us?
Yes, well, I did. Let me also say the other part of that was not only using culture in regular English courses, but also at Sungkyunkwan University, we've been teaching global culture courses, which we've only been doing for 2 semesters now. So part of our recommendations were based from our experience, different kinds of classes, how we go about those classes, how the classroom dynamics change from teaching lecture to seminar. But using culture in regular English courses, my advice would be to first bring some cultural ideas, whether it's cultural research like Gert Hofstede is something we presented on today, recognizing our cultures versus Korean cultures and where those can meet and how do forms of communication and interaction differ, and getting the students to understand your culture, but also helping yourself adapt to their culture in the classroom with things like student responses and student answers. Other advice would be to set goals for your students that are high. A lot of teachers say, my students in this class, their ability is low, so I'm going to limit the scope of the assignment, where it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you believe your students can do it and you challenge them to do it, they might complain at first, but after they do it, you find out that the majority of students can do it, and the ones who can't are still learning how to do it, especially getting help in group work and seeing other student results.
All right, sounds good. High standards. Any other thoughts on the conference, Toastmasters, presentations, or anything else?
To be honest, I would love to give some more, but I don't feel like I'm as qualified as Bob. This is my first one, and I've I joined literally a couple of weeks ago in the process of doing our presentation, and I've had nothing but good experiences so far.
How was the food?
Oh, they had sujis, and the pastrami sandwich was amazing. A little more meat. How about that?
Okay,
there's more meat on the pastrami sandwiches, and we're okay.
Well, one thing I would say for anybody watching this that doesn't come to KOTESOL, do it to improve your personal style as a teacher. Also, do it for your resume. Do it to network and to meet people. And do it to get different resources and see books that you may have never seen. Even if your school has required textbooks, you can use ideas from other books with those textbooks. I would say that would be a major advantage. One suggestion I would have for KOTESOL is a bit with the way the rooms are structured. I know that in our last presentation, our laptop and projector was right in front of the screen, and there was no easy way to move that. So people sitting down were sometimes missing half of our slides, depending on where they were, if they were behind that laptop. So that might be something to consider in the future.
You guys are the presentation experts. All right, well, thanks very much for joining us, Rusty and Bob. Enjoy the final hour of the conference, and we'll hope to see you next time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Great.